and Thunderous Incarnate as well.
Yeah, this is definitely interesting. I think Jiseok's team is very hyper-offensive, right? The team typically revolves around setting up Tailwind with that Whimsicott and then really doing a lot of damage with your primary max options, Pokemon like Calyrex, Shadow Rider, and that Thundurus. Wolfie's team, as you mentioned, has that Stonejourner. I'm really curious to see if it actually comes out here because it's actually not bad. Most of Jiseok's Pokemon are weak to, or take neutral damage from rock-type attacks. Stonejourner is also mainly used for support, right? You have it out on the field and basically its partner can do more damage, so it's especially helpful to support the damage output from Zacian, from Thundurus, from Gigantamax Venusaur. So I'm really curious to see how this matchup kind of takes place because I think, Wolfie has that Sun component, but Jiseok has the Tailwind stuff, right? So if you just lead Whimsicott and you Tailwind, then the Thundurus and the Calyrex from Jiseok's side can really just outspeed everything on Wolfie's side, even if the Sun is up. Because Venusaur, when the Sun is up, is still slower than, say, Thundurus and Calyrex Shadow Rider under Tailwind. So I think from Jiseok's end, it's going to be really important to try to set up that Tailwind at some point. And from Wolfie's end, there are a bunch of different Pokemon I'm looking at. I think Venusaur in particular is interesting, but it might be a little bit hard to bring because of the potential Assault Vest Thundurus from the opposing side. So I feel like calling the lead matchup here will be really important because with a team like Jiseok's, if you're able to just get the lead right, you can often snowball the game so quickly in just a matter of turns.
So with that being said, let's get into this match to see what these players can do. I'm so excited about this match considering how it all went down in the last Players' Cup here. So Regieleki and Whimsicott coming out here against the Incineroar and the Thundurus.
So the Incineroar is interesting. I think it's probably Wolfie's best option to deny that turn 1 Tailwind. We actually got a sneak peek of that Whimsicott set, and I believe it actually has that eject button. So that's going to definitely be a little bit cheeky here. And oh, Jiseok's considering the Dynamax Regieleki. There's that Helping Hand on the Whimsicott as well. The Helping Hand actually has higher priority than Fake Out. So if you go for this option and Incineroar indeed goes for a Fake Out onto a Lecky, you get a lot of damage off with Max Lightning into the opposing Thundurus.
Right. Dynamax Regieleki, not something that you always see, but this Pokemon does so much damage and is so fast that it can definitely catch people off guard. I'm really excited to see how Wolfe responds to this here.
Play Dynamax Regieleki turn 1 is always like the thing I'm most shocked by, and Jiseok's actually put himself in such a good position to actually do a lot of work with it, and actually makes a lot of sense, right? The only thing on Wolfie's team that resists electric type attacks is going to be that Venusaur. No Venusaur out here to start, so why not just go for a burst of damage and get that terrain up as well?
Max Thundurus coming out on Wolfe's side here, and let's see what that Incineroar goes for. The Helping Hand from the Whimsicott onto the Regieleki, and the Incineroar did in fact go for that Fake Out, not being as high as a priority. Isn't going to do anything except for switching that Whimsicott out with that eject button here.
Yeah, and I'm curious, I think, typically in a scenario like this, you want to double up onto the Whimsicott, go with something like Fake Out and Max Airstream. And this is a really cool way in dealing with Assault Vest Thundurus, right? Max Lightning here actually does a sizable amount. Now you've also set up that electric terrain, so another Max Lightning will KO the Thundurus from the opposing side. And so it's a really unique game plan here. You don't see it very often. It's going to be Max Airstream coming out from Wolfie's side of the field, but here's the thing about Regieleki, I should say. It is so fast that you can still outspeed the Incineroar and Thundurus even after they get a speed boost here. So, a lot of Thunduruses are Assault Vest. If we don't see a Life Orb here, I think it's fair to assume that it is Assault Vest. There is no Life Orb there. And so now Jiseok's in a really interesting position where you can just go for a Max Lightning onto Thundurus and a close combat into Incineroar. I have no idea what Wolfie's counterplay to that is, other than maybe switching Incineroar to a Venusaur if you have in the back, something that can resist. But, Zacian is also something that's likely waiting in the back. It really comes down to, what 2 Pokemon Wolfie has in the back. But I think Jiseok, really good game plan here. Getting that free switch into Urshifu. Urshifu with 1 HP is still infinitely more than 0 HP. You get that Max Lightning into Thundurus. If this Regieleki is max speed, I think it should outspeed the opposing Thundurus. And so I love kind of the creativity that Jiseok came in with this game plan. Because I think if you look at his team, you would definitely not expect Regieleki to be the first or even second Dynamax option.
Regieleki surely going first here and picking up that KO on the Thundurus here. That's a big KO here. I mean, Reggie, even after an Airstream, Regieleki's just so fast. Close combat from the Urshifu is going to pick up that KO on the Incineroar. And Jiseok has such a big Pokemon lead already on turn 2 of this match here.
I was wondering if Incineroar had any speed investment where after a speed boost from that Thundurus you can outspeed, because that's actually really critical, right? Imagine that it outspeeds the Urshifu, gets the KO onto it, then you preserve, and Stonejourner is actually out with that Zacian. But part of the problem here, Sarah, is that there is no electric resist, right? So once again, you can see how smart Jiseok's decision to actually Dynamax's Regieleki was. And what's tough is, you can protect to stall out or take a little bit of less damage from the Dynamax, but Urshifu doesn't care about the protects. It can just freely target through. Stonejourner is cool, but Stonejourner typically is designed to support its teammates. It's not really going to carry the game very much, right? So I think here Stonejourner can go for a Rock Slide, maybe just try to pick up the KO onto Urshifu. I think the protect play on Wolfie's side here is absolutely correct, but it's still tough, right? Jiseok's doubling up into that. You still take so much damage from this double up. Max Lightning alone, yeah, would have picked up the KO without the protect, but then close combat here is still going to bring Zacian down to very low HP.
All right, connecting onto that Zacian, bringing it real close, not quite picking up that KO there. And Stonejourner is just going to go for the Rock Slide. Finally connects with that Urshifu, of course, with 1 HP, will pick up that KO, and just a bit of chip on this Regieleki here.
Yeah, a little bit of chip at the end. Regieleki actually wasn't even in any danger of getting knocked out, because while it's really frail, you're not going to take damage if you're able to just knock out your opponent's Pokemon before they can move. And so, I think Jiseok definitely baited the Fake Out and Max Airstream into Whimsicott turn 1, and that's the tough thing about using Assault Vest Thundurus in this format. If your opponent is able to basically get a 2-hit KO onto it, right? Because Assault Vest Thundurus obviously can't go for a Protector at max guard. So I think this game is pretty much all but a wrap at this point. Jiseok can just go for something like a safe Thunderbolt onto the Zacian slot. Stonejourner is a cool Pokemon, but definitely not going to be able to finish it off by itself here. The only thing you want to watch out for is a potential wide guard from Stonejourner, so don't go for double spread type attacks, right? I think the one way Jiseok could lose this game is if he went for Electro Web and Astral Barrage. As long as you target Zacian with one of the Pokemon with the non-spread move, like this Mudshot, you should ensure the game, and there's that wide guard.
Yeah, sure enough, wide guard coming out. There was that Electro Web from the Regieleki, but Jiseok, surely recognizing the wide guard pressure, did go for that Mudshot on that Calyrex and is going to connect and pick up the KO on that Zacian, leaving this Stonejourner as cool as it is, all by itself out on the field and not going to be able to do too much here.
Yeah, Stonejourner, very fun Pokemon, but it's typically not the #1 option, right? The whole point is to use it to enable the rest of its partners and, get a little bit of chip damage with Rock Slide. But this was the Dynamax Regieleki game. I have actually never seen a Regieleki put in as much work as I just did in this first game, and it really started from that turn 1. I mean, brilliant play by Jiseok to position himself so well and basically make the Assault Vest Thundurus on Wolfie's side not nearly as effective. And yeah, in the end, Tailwind wasn't even super relevant, because turns out you don't need Tailwind if your Regieleki just outspeeds everything to begin with.
That Stonejourner hanging around, look cute on the field for just one more turn here. As you said, that Max Regieleki at the beginning of the game was just so strong and just put Jiseok in such a strong position to sweep through Wolfe's team here. Regieleki picking up that final KO here, and we're going to be going to a game 2, which I'm really excited to see how the players adjust. I mean, Max Regieleki, I'm sure, caught Wolfe by surprise, but now that he knows that there is that potential, how does he adjust going forward into this game 2 to counteract it?
I think part of the problem for Wolfie in the last game was the lack of any resist to electric type Pokemon, right? There was no Venusaur, and that's the main thing I was looking at going into this matchup. Now, I totally don't fault Wolfie for not bringing that Venusaur in game 1, because Jiseok has that Thundurus on his team, right? So once again, that's why the lead matchup is so important, and Jiseok made the most out of the lead matchup in the last game, which is already decent for him, and then it snowballed it even faster after that turn 1. So from Wolfie's side of the field, I think if you're expecting Jiseok to play with the same Regieleki strategy, you perhaps consider that Venusaur either in the back or lead it, right? If you have it in the back, you can at least switch into a Max Lightning, although that still doesn't feel too good, to be honest, because you still take a sizable amount. Venusaur's, special bulk and just general bulk isn't amazing, especially when going up against powerful max moves, even if you resist them. And so I'm thinking maybe the adjustment, if you're expecting the Whimsicott plus the Regieleki combination, is to just go with that Venusaur again. Jiseok can one-up that by leading the Thundurus this time instead of the Regieleki. So those are the adjustments I think both players can potentially make going into this next game.
All right, let's get started into this game two to see what adjustments they are going to be bringing here. So on Wolf's side, with that Venusaur to start next to that Torkoal, so big lead adjustment. On Jiseok's side, we are going to see the Regieleki next to the Whimsicott again, and I'm really excited about this lead adjustment here.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely the right lead adjustment. Jiseok, like I mentioned, could have let that Thundurus, but feeling content to just go with Regieleki, actually considering maxing Regieleki anyway, which is, I think, super fascinating here. I mean, what's also tricky from Wolfie's side is, this is an open team sheet tournament. He knows this Whimsicott has Switcheroo and that eject button. So, he might be really nervous of Dynamaxing Venusaur on turn one, because you don't want to max it just to get Switcheroo and then have Regieleki target it. So Jiseok here actually, deciding I'm just going to Dynamax Regieleki anyway. I don't care that your Venusaur's out on the field because, hey, now that Venusaur's out on the field, that means everything else that is either in the back or, that Torkoal slot can't actually take these electric type attacks well at all. If Torkoal doesn't protect here turn one, Venusaur can't get like a one-hit KO onto Regieleki, it's just going to knock out the Torkoal with no problem.
Right, so no protect coming out. That Whimsicott is going to be setting up the Tailwind, so a super speedy Pokemon is just going to be zooming even faster with that Max Lightning onto the Torkoal and just going for those KOs. I mean, Regieleki is so strong. These Max Lightnings just carrying it through the team here, and that Torkoal just getting KO'd. Venusaur with the Sludge Bomb out onto the Whimsicott is also going to be picking up a KO here, but Whimsicott has already set up that Tailwind. There won't be any more eject button pressure, which I feel would be really, really nice. You have to respect that a little bit, but each player taking a early KO, and I'm excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, I think it's really critical Tailwind goes up this time around, right? This game definitely looking a little bit different than the last one, but when we were talking about this matchup in general, one thing I mentioned was the ability to just snowball the game really quickly. Tailwind is a really critical component to that. Jiseok not only gets Tailwind up, but also gets a free switch in and sets up the electric terrain for himself. If this Thundurus doesn't Dynamax, I mean, he'll probably just faint to the Max Lightning. I really like the decision to double up onto Thundurus, knowing that it can't protect in this position. So even if Thundurus maxes, it probably just faints to Max Lightning plus Wicked Blow. And if Thundurus doesn't Dynamax, well, the Max Lightning picks up the KO onto Thundurus anyway, and then Wicked Blow gets redirected into Venusaur. So this is a really safe play, right? Like, because you already have a decent position, why go for any risky plays, right? Especially if you know that the Thundurus here is assault vested, does not have protect, and with it, being an open team sheet tournament, you fully have information of the opposing side's team. So Wolfie here is going to end up Dynamaxing. It is actually going to be that Gigantamax Venusaur, and I have to wonder, can this Venusaur get a one-hit KO onto that Regieleki with something like a Max Quake, for example?
I mean, it's going to have to take care of this Regieleki soon, because this Regieleki is applying so much pressure. Max Lightning onto the Thundurus, picking up its second KO in a row here. I mean, this Regieleki is snowballing. Wicked Blow from the Urshifu, taking more than half of the HP away from this Venusaur. No Max Quake. Instead, Vine Lash hitting into that Urshifu. Of course, Focus Sash activating, but with this Vine Lash damage is not going to matter, and this Venusaur is picking up that KO here.
Yeah, and the main thing here is Regieleki continues to just stay on the field and not take any damage. I think, that's 2 turns that Venusaur had an opportunity to target the Regieleki, but I think turn 1 makes sense, right? You can't fault Wolf for not wanting to Dynamax that Venusaur when you have to face the possibility of an eject button going onto it immediately. But in the end, Jiseok once again saying, hey, now that your Venusaur's out on the field, with Torkoal not protecting Trone, I think that was really critical as well. Just being able to pick up the one-hit KO means that this Regieleki is able to snowball the game so much faster. So both players are down to their last 2 Pokemon. There's still a turn of Max here on the Regieleki, so, you know, you can just go for that Max Lightning onto the Zacian slot. I think Zacian in Wolfie's side of the field will definitely have to protect. If you don't protect, you are just going to absolutely faint to a Max Lightning. So Jiseok can just play this game very safely. Now, he doesn't have a Psychic type attack on the Calyrex, so, you know, your best bet is to go for that Astral Barrage. I was wondering if, you know, Hyper Beam could actually get the KO onto Venusaur, but maybe Astral Barrage alone can finish it off. Either way, I think Wolfie's play here has to be to protect the Zacian. And then with the Venusaur, you know, it's a tricky spot. Do you go for the KO onto Calyrex or the Regieleki? I would think to target the Calyrex here.
Zacian will go for the protect, understanding the importance of trying to keep it around. Max Lightning hitting into it, taking 1/3 of the HP with that critical hit as well. Astral Barrage will be dealing a sizable amount of damage to this Venusaur here. Not quite the KO though. Fine Lash does get to come out and connecting with that Calyrex. It's going to faint due to his own life orb damage here, but getting that Calyrex so close down to 0, it'll surely pick up the KO with the Vine Lash going forward, and we're going to have a 1v1 here with some 2 super strong Pokemon.
Yeah, 2 strong Pokemon, but in the end, Regieleki has that Electric Terrain set up, so, you know, all it needs to do, I think, is click Thunderbolt, and I think it should just be game over. Now, there actually was that critical hit onto the Zacian. I'm not sure Zacian would survive an Electric Terrain Magnet-boosted Thunderbolt anyway, but I think that crit basically ensures that Thunderbolt should KO now, you know, just doing a little bit of extra damage through that protect. So, you know, I think Wolfie definitely playing to his outs there, went for the right play that last turn. Thunderbolt comes out, and that's going to be enough for the KO.
Picking up that KO, Jiseok is going to take this set.
That, I think, is the best demonstration of Dynamax Regieleki I've actually ever seen since Regieleki's debut, basically, in VGC. So congratulations to Jiseok win for a dominating 2-0 victory. And in the end, I think, you know, Wolfie definitely made the lead adjustment he needed to in Game 2, but it felt like his teams just didn't really give him too many options to actually make plays. He was basically always trying to react to what Jiseok was doing.